Let's
and a
go
lot
through
of good people.
some of the people who are running. You certainly have strong opinions. Marco Rubio just announced. What's your take?
Well, I think it's a long shot. I mean, I think he gave up a lot. He's given up a Senate seat in order to run, and he got nice reviews on his speech. And I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent, but he got pretty good reviews. And but I think it's a long. I think he's a nice guy. I don't know him. Actually, I know most of them. Most of them have come up to ask for my support. But they do it very tepidly because, they come up and they don't know my running. But they all want to have.
There's always a pilgrimage to Trump Tower. There's always a pilgrimage to Trump Tower in New York.
No, there's always a pilgrimage. That's right. Last time I had everybody. I mean, they come up, but they really don't know exactly how to start the conversation. But they do. Rubio, I don't really know him. And he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I think it's a long shot, personally, but let's see what happens.
What about Ted Cruz, first to announce?
Again, I know him, and he announced, and he had a very good announcement, and people just don't know. He's quite conservative, I think. He's quite conservative, and that's, in my opinion, a good thing. And some opinions, maybe it's not. But I think he's an impressive guy, Ted Cruz.
Jeb Bush.
I think it's going to be very hard. Personally, I think the last thing this country needs is another Bush. His view on Common Core is something, certainly from the primary standpoint, is not going to help him. His views on immigration are not going to help him with the primaries, and perhaps that'll be okay through a general election, but for the primaries, I think it's going to be very, very tough for Bush, even though he's being very successful at raising money. He's not very successful right now in the polls. And he's not very successful in terms of crowds and everything, but he seems to be, I guess perhaps because of the ties, but he seems to be successful at raising money. He's going to be announcing that if he hasn't already announced it, and I think the numbers are going to be pretty good. But I'm not sure, Alan, that money is going to be a predominant factor here, so we'll see what happens.
Rand Paul has announced as well.
Yeah, I actually contribute to Rand for his doctoring. He goes away and he helps people, and I really like that. He was a libertarian. He's becoming more and more of a conservative over a period of time, and sort of interesting to see what's happening. But he had a strong base, his father's base and his base. He's becoming very, very much more of a conservative. I know Rand, and Rand has been up, and we've talked at great length, and we've gotten together a couple of times. But, I like them. I mean, I like most of them that I know. I like them on a personal basis. We'll see whether or not they have what it takes.
Is it over for Chris Christie?
Well, he's a friend of mine. He's a really good guy. I think he's probably waiting to see what happens. I mean, if you read the Times and various other things, I guess a lot of things are happening. I just don't know. I hope he's in great shape. I just don't know exactly what's going to happen. He's up in New Hampshire today and yesterday, and he's working very hard. I mean, I like him a lot. He's a friend of mine. I just don't know whether or not he's going to run. He may run, he may not. I just don't know.
The other figure, apart from Bush, who is considered perhaps the conservative hope, is Scott Walker.
Right, and again, he was up to my office, and he has. I think he's catching on pretty nicely, and I think he's probably, of the group, he's probably doing the best in terms of polls and in terms of popularity.
So where would Donald Trump fit in among all the people we've just talked about?
Well, I think I'm different than a lot of them. I think I'm different than all of them because, number one, I'd keep Social Security. I'd keep Medicare and Medicaid. I wouldn't be cutting. I'd get rid of fraud and abuse in the Medicare and Medicaid, but I wouldn't be doing anything with Social Security. I would take it back. I would take our jobs back from China. I would take our jobs back from all of the other countries that have been just ripping us from a job and manufacture and even money standpoint.
How do you do that? How do you get those jobs back?
For one thing, the manipulation of the Chinese currency is unbelievable what they've done in devaluing. And what they're doing is bringing it down, makes it impossible for our companies to compete with them.